Instagram is one of the most popular social networking sites in the world. Since its launch on October 6, 2010, Instagram now has 800 million monthly active users, with over 60% of its users logging in daily. Instagram is the second most engaged network after Facebook. So the question must be asked is, where does a single Instagram post start? We are Group 23, and in this video we will explain how a camera works, what depth of field is, and finally, how to make your Instagram post better. The purpose of a camera is to capture light and record the image. In order to capture an image clearly, a light-tight camera body is required. This ensures that only the light that is wanted will enter the camera. Inside the light-tight camera body is a light-sensitive sensor or a piece of film. This sensor will react to light when it enters the camera. A lens is attached to the front of the body of the camera, allowing light entering the camera to be controlled. The light is focused by the lens to create a sharp upside-down image on the sensor and then record it. The lens also contains the aperture, which becomes wider or smaller to allow more or less light through the lens. The final piece is the shutter, which is a fast-moving mechanical curtain that completely blocks light coming in from the lens to the sensor. The shutter can open rapidly or slowly to allow light to hit the sensor. All of these pieces work together to create a proper image.
Instead of film, digital cameras use semiconductors to record their image. Charge-coupled devices and complementary metal oxides with semiconductors are two of the most common types. These are made of small pixels. When light reaches a pixel, it causes a semiconductor to lose electrons. This process is stored as charge in the pixel's capacitance. A reader circuit is then added to measure and store the charge. Each pixel gives its charge to the next and the next until it reaches the reader. This information then goes to the processor and then stored in the memory card.
First off, I have shutter speed. And what shutter speed is, it's the length of time when the film or digital sensor inside a camera is exposed to light. Also, it's when a camera's shutter is open when taking a photograph. Secondly, I'm going to be talking about f-stop. F-stop is the measurement of the aperture setting in a camera lens. The f-stop setting determines how much light is allowed to enter the lens and pass through the film or CCD or CMOS sensor. It also determines how much in front of and behind the subject is in focus. And lastly, I'm going to talk about focus. Focus is when a camera bends light onto a photosensitive surface and reassembles that light, reflecting from the scene, passing through the optics, creating an image.
Now to discuss depth of field. The depth of field of the lens is determined as a certain range of distances over which objects will be in focus. Objects closer or farther will be blurred. Therefore, it is important to keep in mind where that zone of acceptable sharpness is in an image to maximize its full potential when it appears to be in focus. There is always a certain distance in front of and behind the subject that will appear in focus. Another key component that has to be taken into consideration with depth of field is aperture. Aperture refers to the access given to light from the lens to the camera sensors. Using the aperture of your lens is the simplest way to control your depth of field as you set up your shot. All in all, by being able to understand an image's depth of field and by using the ability to control the aperture will allow for a higher quality picture to get you the likes and recognition that you deserve. Now, how to make your IG post better. Now that we know about the fundamentals of photography, depth of field, and bokeh, you can apply them to the photos that you take to make your IG post better and gain more followers. A good and easy way to apply all of this knowledge into taking a quality photo for your IG post can be to use a portrait mode if it is available on your mobile device. For example, Apple has implemented a feature called Portrait Mode by implementing dual cameras in their 7 Plus, 8 Plus, and X models to create a depth of field effect in your pictures. One camera is able to keep the subject of the image in a sharp focus, while the second camera is able to use bokeh, which will simultaneously create that beautiful blur effect in the background. Both of these cameras are used together to enhance the quality of the photo and ensure that the subject of the image is the focal point of the picture taken.
Choose your next words carefully, Inators. They may be your last as king.
To wrap things up, today we discussed parts of a camera, film versus digital, camera adjustments such as shutter speed, f-stop, and focusing, depth of field, and finally, how to make your IG post better. We are Group 23, and thank you for watching.